what's the first image you see when you think of a coffee farm?
Yeah, unfortunately, I think we want to turn a blind eye because it's too hard to sort of think about.
You know, again, the farmers need help. They need that support. Without them, we don't get coffee.
Welcome back, everyone, to another edition of Coffee Chats. We hope you enjoyed last week's edition. I love doing this format because we get to have discussions and sort of on the fly, on the cusp. I'm joined with Liam Burge, our barista expert.
Yep.
He's going to be bouncing all the ideas. I've done some news research and then we're going to chat about them. So if you like this sort of content, you like this format, please give us a like, give us a subscribe or chat in the comments section below and let us know what your thoughts are and if this is something that you want to hear continuously. Today's coffee, we are featuring Futura Blend, which is an organic, 100% organic blend. It's super delicious. It's got like the chocolate base, which a lot of people enjoy, with these really sweet fruits coming through. It's fantastic as a cold brew. I'm having a cold brew this morning. And also with milk, espresso, French press, whatever style you have, it's really lovely. And if you want to save the world of coffee and make a better, sustainable future for our friends and our families, future generations of coffee drinkers, then this is the coffee blend to buy. You can purchase it anywhere around the world. Just jump on the website coffeebeansdelivered.com.au and you can purchase some there, plus a whole bunch of other range of single origins and blends as well. So, news this week in coffee.
Tell me about it.
Well, we'll start with the price of the coffee index, which is the commodity price, so that every coffee, whether it be specialty, robusta, any type, is sort of based off of this index. And it is actually down slightly from last week, which is quite of a bit of a change. It's down at $2.25. It has been fluctuating. Obviously, it's gone up massively this year from the start of January and to now it's gone up about 35%. So it's really putting pressure on a lot of people in terms of the cafes, farmers, obviously, importers. There's supply shortages going on with COVID, just the lack of shipping containers, and of course the war on Ukraine. So there's a lot of things that affect this particular coffee index. Brazil having a really bad year last year also caused the price to go up because Brazil obviously generates a third of the entire world's global exports. So when they have a bad year, price of everything goes up in regards to coffee.
It's interesting that coffee has a sort of this index sort of thing that fluctuates, sort of like stock market,
yes, like
or
normal stock markets.
Gold, oil. You know, when we see a different fuel price driving down the road, you know, $2.37 currently of what I'm paying. But, you know, that changes every day and we don't really think too much about it. It's really interesting that coffee has that same level of fluctuation, yet it's $4.80. It's going
every
to
day.
the cafe.
Man, if we could do what the petrol stations did, and today, sorry, it's gone up 40% today.
Have a little
Too
live,
bad.
you know, sort of
ticker feed of
stock. You know, the stock market on top. As it going, oh, look at that, it's just gone down. Coffee's cheaper, everyone. Let's go. And
get the morning rush at 9:30 instead of at 9 because they're waiting for the price to drop that extra 30 cents.
But at the end of the day, they do that with every other commodity. Why not coffee?
Yeah, and it should be made more aware for people to as well, because I think this is an important, and it sort of leads into my next point, which is to do with the nitrogen stock shortage that they have around the world now, which is, we'll get into it in a little bit. Okay. But the thing that it reminds me of is that customers, the general customer, thinks about coffee from a shop as being quick, delicious tasting, friendly service, on demand, so when they're ready, not when you want to make it, when they want it, and cheap. Right, so all of these things. And when you talk about any other industry, any other market, when you're looking at that, you look at, okay, you can have cheap, you can have quick, you can't have quality. You can have
McDonald's.
McDonald's is a great example. You can have quality and it be quick, but you can't have it cheap. Let's say Tesla. I don't know. Is Tesla?
Tesla's great. I'd be thinking like
okay, I don't know, something.
Ordering a glass of wine in the bar, right?
Fair
like
enough.
You go and you're like, yep, I'll have this. Waiter goes, awesome. I'll be back soon. and they come back with a bottle, and you might take 10 or so minutes.
Well, yeah. You normally can't have all three.
No.
And in most cases, every cafe has to have all three. They have to be cheap, quick, and good. And otherwise, you go out of business.
They'll hear about it if they don't.
Yeah. But no one really understands that in the background, we've got so many pressures going on from every angle, and the latest one is to do with the nitrogen fertilizer. So what's been happening, coffee plantations generally use up a lot of nitrogen fertilizer. Because coffee is nitrogen rich, it actually draws a lot out of the soil, so you have to keep replenishing the soil with this and maintaining a really nice, healthy soil matter, organic soil matter, not just nitrogen, but other minerals as well.
It's a balance.
But the nitrogen that gets pulled out of the soil to help grow the tree ends up making your coffee much more delicious. The problem that is happening now because of the short supply and the supply chain, war, COVID, just everything in general, inflation, fertilizers is going up by 300%. Jeez. So these poor farmers who are already running at a loss to produce coffee because it's their livelihood. That's all they can do. They don't get a freedom of choice to be able to go, okay, give up on my coffee farm and I'll go become a CEO of a company. The options aren't there for them. So if you're born into a family with a coffee farm, generally speaking, you're going to take over that farm and continue that family tradition.
You hear so many stories about families that have multi-generational farm owners. And I mean, a lot of the Brazil beans that we get through Minas Hill, they have those stories connected, and they're all family built.
Yeah, absolutely. So. Shout out to Minas Hill for delivering and bringing in fantastic tasting Brazilian coffees. The problem that they're facing now is they're turning to a synthetic fertilizer, and that has its own set of problems. If it was just once-off seasonal thing where you had to just make up the nitrogen in the soil, so you did this once with the synthetic fertilizer, that's a different story. This is now year on year on year, starting from back in 2020. We're now seeing it continually to increase because people can't afford to pay 300% for more fertilizer. Take the shortcut one, put that in. The problems that has is not only does it overload the soil because it needs to be a nice balance, and I don't understand all about soil. Maybe someone who understands agriculture can tell us exactly how it affects it. But what I understand
in agriculture at school.
You did some, so there you go. You can explain it to me. But what I basically understand is that to have a healthy organic matter in your soil is basically like having a nice neighborhood with lots of empty available houses that are spacious, not jam-packed together, not too far apart. This then allows other microorganisms to go in and fill those houses up and creates a nice neighborhood that everyone enjoys.
Yeah, more or less.
The problem with the synthetic is that it just destroys all the ground, so it pulls out a little bit of the tree pulls out a little bit of the nitrogen. I think it's only 25% of the actual nitrogen that you put into the soil. And then the rest is overloading it, and it's too much for the soil, so it becomes worse and worse and worse over the years. You end up destroying your farm anyway. So these are farms that are already on the brink of collapse, now just causing it more and more. And they're not getting paid more, so fertilizer's gone up 300%. Coffee at the farm level has not gone up at all. They're still living below the poverty line. Yeah. So, it's one thing for us here in Australia to have cafes and to have pressures of, oil and rent and wages and all of those pressures happening. But at the farm level, where you don't have any support, there is no the governments are doing best they can, but there's a lot less support at the farm level than we have here at the retail end. And so I think this is going to be a factor that really determines the price of coffee in the future and the availability of it.
I mean, we look at, there was the whole supermarket sort of campaign about looking after the dairy farmers and, looking after Australian farmers. These are farmers that, deal in millions of dollars. Yeah, $1 million in, $1 million out. They're still putting food on the table. You think about, okay, what's the first image you see when you think of a coffee farmer? You think of somewhere in South America, living the simple life, right? They're not eating, they're not providing for their family, and that's just the image that comes to their head.
Yeah.
Like, and we're all okay with that.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think we want to turn a blind eye because it's too hard to sort of think about. And as long as there's coffee on our table, that sort of alleviates the pressures of, oh, okay, we don't have to worry. But as soon as there's no coffee on the table, it's too late.
Yep.
You can't go back and go, oh, quick, we need to quickly grow more plants, put more money into the farmers, because it's a 4 to 5 year turnaround, even to get to a proper crop that harvesting really nice cherries ready to export. So it's not next week we can have good coffee. You
mentioned, it might have been yesterday or the day before, about the amount of coffee that they get through, like, what they grow to what actually they get. Do we talk about this at all later on?
I don't actually, but we can bring it up now.
Well, I think it's important as well that, again, the farmers need help. They need that support. Without them, we don't get coffee. They get 50 kilos of cherries off their trees.
Yep, let's say they get 50 kilos of cherries.
How many beans do they get?
Yeah, it's actually from the cherry itself, all of the parchment, all of the flesh, everything, that endocarp, that weighs half of the seed. So the seed left over after you've washed it and dried it, you're also losing moisture, and then not even talking about what you lose in roasting, because there's another 10% you lose in roasting. Just from the farmers themselves, going from a cherry tree straight down to the seed is 50% loss. So you get 50 kilos, you're ending up with 25 kilos.
I'm getting 50 kilos, I'm thinking, sweet, I've got my electricity paid, I've got food paid, I've got everything, and they've halved it.
Yeah, instantly.
Before it's even gone out.
Yeah.
Halved.
Whereas, say, a vine will actually yield about 3 to 4 bottles worth of wine.
Off the one tree.
Off the one vine,
yeah. Wow.
And whereas a coffee tree maybe does a quarter of a kilo. Like, or when it's all said and done.
250 grams.
If that, maybe even less.
Maybe even less.
Yeah. So we're not talking, a tree that can produce 5 kilos of coffee. One tree can barely produce 500 grams of coffee. So it's got to be changed. The perspective has got to change, and the only way we can do that is by educating everyone.
Yeah, or finding places, to supply your coffee that are helping.
Yeah,
and doing. I think it's time that we stop looking at price and we start looking at, okay, well, who's doing the right thing?
I think that's got to be, you've got to be looking at it with 2 eyes.
Yeah.
Who are you buying from? Are you supporting the mega multinational corporations who are a bit of the cause of this issue? And they certainly aren't doing a lot to help, but, they are getting you coffee wherever you are. So there's a balance. We do want to support the big companies. Like, I don't think Starbucks is a bad company. I think they are doing a lot of great things, and we kind of need them because they help get coffee to the masses and help get that awareness out there that coffee can taste so good, so that us as the little guys can come in and go, hey, this is even better than what you've been trying, but they're already there. I don't think we could have had takeaway espresso bars without Starbucks. Yeah. So they have an important role. However, we now need to really use our wits and our education when we're purchasing. So not just looking for the cheapest coffee or the supermarket coffee, but actually investing in the future. It's a great reward as well. I mean, you can't go wrong with good coffee.
Tastes brilliant.
Right? You get bad coffee, you save a couple of bucks, you endure a month of pain. A great coffee, it hurts your pocket a little bit, but you get a month of just a joyous ride with the best coffees tasting every morning. I just think the pros outweigh the cons.
100%. 100%.
And now more than ever, we have to look at what we're drinking and who we're spending our money with. Anyway, all right, next up, we are looking at Rancilio's new Silvia Pro. Ooh. I love Rancilio. I've been a big fan of Rancilio. My first commercial coffee machine was a Rancilio Z9.
I've seen the photo.
Yeah.
You had hair.
I had hair.
Yeah, it was long, luscious.
Exactly. Yeah, it was good times back in the bad old days of coffee. Yeah, it was my favourite coffee machine. I have been a big fan of them, and they've re-entered the specialty market with their RS1, which is a really nice machine. If you haven't seen it, I would go check it out. But we're here talking about the Rancilio Silvia, which is their home version. Now, the Silvia's been around for ages as well. It's been one of the best home brewers of espresso for many, many decades. However, it has not come without its faults. You've got to do temperature surfing.
Yeah, doesn't come with a PID.
Yeah, there's no water temperature stabilizer.
Nope.
There's no ability to adjust the temperature. It's there wasn't even the way that the exchange boiler worked. You actually had to heat up the water, let it cool it down, let it heat up again, purge it a bit more, and then when it was on its way back up, that's when you make your espresso.
It was a modder's paradise, though, right? Like you could
Massive.
if you're into tinkering, if you're sort of engineering sort of thing,
Yeah.
you could get in and do it all yourself.
Yes.
I couldn't.
Yeah, you'd have to be really invested in the product, but you could buy do-it-yourself PID kits. They cost as much as the machine, and but people could get into it and do things, and they're machines that last forever. The Silvia Pro brings all of those fantastic features into the one machine. So you now have a dual boiler, you now have your PID, it has the timer for your shots, and it also has an auto turn off function as well. I think it's an auto turn off function, or it could be a turn on function. The website
Didn't have the best.
had not been written very well.
No.
This is what they say on the website that is in regards to the Rancilio. So, because I really wanted to know, what is good about this particular model. The power on timer automatically switch on the machine after a preset period of time. That's what it says on here. I don't know what that means. The power on timer automatically switch on the machine after a preset period of time. So you set the period of time to
it's a sleep
14 hours,
Yeah.
I'm going to sleep for now, and then after that 14 hours you can turn on the machine? I don't understand.
Or
Is
it's a
it
double negative and they're
timer
saying you
turning
can
it off?
Yeah.
After 15 minutes.
Who knows?
Well, both of those are pretty good functions.
Yep.
I don't know which one it is. It's beautiful. It comes in 4 colours: stainless steel, black, pink, and a white. And they've separated out, finally, the steam wand from the water.
Yeah. How is that ever a good idea?
I never liked that. I just hated the fact that if I wanted a long black, I had to turn on the machine and then have it pour
out of the steam wand.
all the water to fill my
And
cup,
it's a
and
little
it
bit
just
milky,
goes everywhere.
it's
It
just a little
spurts everywhere. It hits the bottom of the cup and bounces out. It's not nice. It doesn't look good. Doesn't feel good. Now they finally have a separate water spout just for your boiling water, which I think is brilliant. It's ergonomic. It looks great. I'm sure it's the same quality. I haven't found out what the price is, but I assume it's going to be in the 2,000 range because the old Rancilio Silvia had it was about 1,000 Australian, and then the PID kit was 800 on its own.
I've been looking for a home espresso machine for myself, and you can't get anything with a PID under 2,000.
Right.
Well, I mean,
So as soon as you go dual boiler or PID,
anything big and good, and you start getting pretty fussy. It's that more 1,500 to 2,000 mark is
where you're going to
the entry is.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if this didn't jump to the 3,000.
I mean, certainly could if the quality's there, and we know it will be.
They know what they're doing. They've got that following.
Yeah.
But then there are some. $3,000 gets you a Giotto Rocket or
that's right.
an Electra Verde or something like a little bit better. But I wouldn't be surprised if it's pushing that.
I mean, the Giottos are single boilers, so maybe there's a you can go like if you want to go to the dual boiler, then they are like 9,000 or something like that. They're really expensive. But I mean, if you're a fan of the Rancilio brand, then this is perfect for you guys to upgrade. It also has a thing they call soft infusion, which is just pre-infusion, but it allows it to go from 0 to 6 pressure, no pressure, just hot water coming onto your puck, which is pre-infusion, which we know is good. It's an advanced technique, it's good to have it.
Every machine has pre-infusion now. I love how that's their selling point, being like, it also has pre-infusion.
Well, they call it soft infusion, so that it's like, ooh, something nice.
Rebel Barista Express
has pre-infusion. Yeah,
it's nothing.
It's been around for ages. What I wish they had brought in, because the specialty machine, the RS1 commercial machine, actually has this really unique function, which is unique to Rancilio. It's patented by them, which is actually to adjust the temperature of the water mid-shot, mid-extraction. And when I was at Mice a couple of years ago, they had a flagship store there, and they were selling it, launching it there. So you press the shot and you set it to be, okay, I want to go from 95 degrees down to 92 degrees over the course of 30 seconds.
Yep.
And so slowly it'll ramp down, and vice versa, you can ramp it up. And they really focused on that as their special feature that's unique to their machine, because no one else was playing with that temperature profiling. We had pressure profiling, flow profiling, all of those, but no one had really figured out temperature. And so they went, well, the temperature really affects the flavor. And I did notice a distinct difference between a coffee that started hot and getting cooler and the other way around. I preferred the one that started hotter and getting colder towards the end of the extraction over the other way, but obviously it's really dependent on what you like and what your palate likes.
Options. Give the people options.
Yeah. Right. So I was a bit disappointed to see that that feature wasn't in there, especially since you can control the PID, you can control the temperature of the water with the PID. I would have thought maybe it's not that hard to add in that extra bit of tech, but maybe it is. I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Any espresso makers out there, or any engineers that think they can do it to their...
Yeah.
Let us know. Is it hard? I don't think it should be, but I would probably blow myself up if I started tinkering with these things. So, yeah, I wouldn't listen to me.
Another product that's just been released is called the Hugh Leverpresso Pro. It's similar to a lot of the manual lever brewers out there. So your Flares, the Rock, the Cafe Latte Robot, which I reviewed at MICE 2 years ago and still haven't done the video, so that should probably get done at some point.
We're heading over in September, so hopefully
we can revisit that.
We can
The Leverpresso, made by a company called Hugh, is a modern take and a bit of a sort of a twist on all of those Leverpresso lever machines. So it's trying to be really portable. So that's its focus. It's like, how do I make a lever machine that is also portable? So it all packs down into the one unit. It looks really tight in the actual photos. It looks like a super tight little device.
Looks like the Rock, doesn't it?
It looks very much like the Rock.
I wonder how they got around that.
There.
I wonder if Rock has any patents on how they
maybe.
look like.
The portafilter is 51, so they're bringing in another style of portafilter, because they said they want it to be 51, not 54 or 58, because they want it to be more transportable.
Oh yeah.
For me, and the flare is 40 mil.
Because you wouldn't think that 58 would be any less transportable.
Yeah, like that size there, so the unit's a little bit bigger. I would have thought that would be alright, but maybe it's not. But yeah,
putting it
51 is so coming in a little bit, a lot smaller than that. Might even be closer to that size. Yeah, that diameter there. So it might even be smaller than that, actually.
That's 50. That
might be 54.
I mean, the Flare has a tiny basket.
50. So the Flare has a 40 mil.
Tiny.
Yeah, tiny.
Tiny.
Except for the 58, which is the latest one. But
58. But I mean,
yeah, the Flare. So you have the Flare. So
I have
your
the
experience
Flare
of that.
Signature Pro. It is. I mean, it's great. It is fully portable. It only requires a kettle and stuff. The basket's tiny. It comes with this little mini temp.
Yeah.
It's great. It's.
You don't find any extraction issues with that, because obviously the puck is actually going to be longer.
It is, and
it is wider.
I do find that when I finish my extraction and I take the little ring off, it actually like grows like one of those dinosaurs that you put in a bucket. It does expand and it comes out. But is there anything wrong with that? I'm having espresso at home. I'm happy chappy.
Yep.
I'm having espresso on the road when I can.
So that's the thing, is the Flare that unportable that you can't take it anywhere?
It comes in a case.
Yeah. So it may not be the best for like backpacking, if you're like trying to do a trip up to the mountains.
No, but then I understand the concept of what they're trying to do, but okay, you're hiking, you're backpacking. Take a nanopresso. It's this big.
Yeah.
Or take a couple of my mates. They do hiking. I have a mate in the army as well who goes on tour. They're not even lugging around a nanopresso.
Right.
They're having coffee other ways. They're having filter. They're having it just in the cup, sipping it through their teeth. Right. Like if I had 10 kilos max in my backpack that I had to bring,
you wouldn't think the portable coffee brewer would be one of them.
Not that big.
Yeah, okay.
That's not portable to me.
Right.
And I think that if I really wanted to double down on that, and my thing was about portability, I'd be looking at, I can't reach it from here, your Porigami
Oh yeah.
set,
yes.
right? It's a little filter set that,
Yep.
folds up paper flat.
Yeah.
That's portable.
Yeah.
In your pocket.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, like, there's a lot in here to carry, and you can see there, it's not that small.
I reckon it's bigger than the flare.
It looks great.
Oh,
it does
looks
look beautiful.
Look at it. Is that going? He's doing it into a jar, a cup, or a?
Yeah, I think he's going straight into just a cup.
I don't like that.
I don't know how that works, but anyway.
Why don't you break it?
Maybe it's part of it. It's built in.
It is part of it.
Yeah. Okay, so there's two ones. There's a stand.
3-1 sort of thing.
And then it also must have like a home stand and then a travel stand. So, look, it still sits this high.
Yep.
So it's not that small, but it looks good. If anyone's tried it, please let us know.
I think it's pretty. It's good. I think The Rock has. I mean, we saw The Rock the other day that he came in, and I don't rate it.
Not the actual Rock, not Dwayne Johnson.
Oh, jeez, Dwayne Rock Johnson, if you're coming in,
please come and visit us.
Please. I don't think they look that good. To be perfectly honest, I think they're a little bit gangly. They look like a wine corker.
Yeah. They definitely look like a bit of a rocket ship.
I think they've seen their day. Yeah. This looks leagues better than The Rock, I think. So if you were to replace it, I look forward to seeing how they actually make the coffee out of that.
So the news headline. This is a bit of old news as well. This is not this week. Cafe customer calls police over the price of the espresso. Now, this is in Florence, in Italy.
Sounds like a nightmare.
I just can't imagine this happening. But a man's walked into the shop in a cafe in Florence, ordered his espresso. He claims not to have seen the digital display, paid for it. It was above what he thought it should be paid, would be worth.
Unlucky.
So, what does he do? Calls the police.
Calls the police.
As you do. The police come in. This is not even the most bizarre part of the story, because the police agreed with the man and fined the cafe €1,000.
€1,000.
Yeah. So apparently the display wasn't updated on the blackboard menu, but it was there on his display as he paid. However, that wasn't enough for the police, and they slapped him with a €1,000 fine. So it raises the question: coffees in Italy or around Europe average €1 each. These guys are selling their coffees at €2 because prices have gone up.
Yeah,
right?
€2 steep.
Yeah, and most cafes have put their price up, so now the average is sitting closer to $1.50 or €1.50. And but even though, and also this is important because this is decaffeinated coffee that this guy ordered. So it's just not your regular run-of-the-mill supermarket brand cafe. This is a specialty coffee house. I will try and pronounce it. I'm not great with my Italian. Ditta Artigianale, which means artisan firm, the artisan business. So they are an artisan coffee house. Like, they aren't pretending to be your supermarket brand coffee. They have it in their name. You don't walk into a place called Artisan Firm and expect that you're going to get the lowest quality coffees there. No. I don't understand how the police came to the idea that they should fine the guy.
I'm thinking it's an inside job. I think the police must have been upset one day and they think, didn't, and then they've called them up and the police went, there we go, we've got him. We've got him.
Throw the book at him.
Throw the book at him.
Yeah, I don't understand why the man thought he had to ring the police to solve this problem. I would have just given you a refund. Just, okay, you don't want to pay $2, give me my coffee back, give me $2 and just don't come back here again.
Yeah, people getting mugged.
You don't need to call the police.
They're getting mugged in the back alley.
Yeah.
Quick, send the police. Oh, actually, all of our units are out.
I want to play this out. So I'm the coffee owner. You're the man coming in.
Come in.
Sir, welcome to our Artisan Cafe. We have the beautiful Mexican mountain washed, 100% glacial water wash coffee, decaffeinated, no chemicals in it. This is the best stuff, and it's flowing directly to us from Mexico. So we can really support our customers and give you the best coffee tasting ever. What can we get you?
Coffee. Just, sure.
Yeah.
Coffee.
Okay, well, here you go. This is grown at 1900 MSAL, and it's got delicious fruit flavors in there with a nice acidity. It's not too bitter, and we've brewed it with our artisan roaster and with our perfect baristas that just are spot on with all of their coffee. So here you go, sir. Just pay the €2, please, and enjoy.
Right, €2. Two?
Yes.
Not one.
I know, it's sad. Supply chain shortages, COVID, wages have gone up, rent's gone up, cost of coffee's gone up, electricity's gone up, everything's gone up. It's unfortunate, we just have to put our prices up. We have to be a business too.
You're a thief. You're a criminal. I'm calling the police.
No need to do that. Don't call the police. I'll just give you your money back.
Hello, police. I've been robbed. I've been robbed. Hello, I'm the police. I'm here to arrest you.
Officer, we've got... This has gone way out of control.
Say no more. I've seen your €2 coffees. Get out. Throw the book at him.
Yeah, so something like that, I'm sure it went down. But yeah, it's really sad, and I feel really, really sad for the guys at the DA, because I think that they were unfairly victimised, and I don't think people should be calling the police over the cup of a coffee. Coffee is expensive. It should be more expensive.
I think...
What else is there to say?
There's something to say about not advertising your prices.
Yeah.
How he did it, there is something to say. I get upset when, talking about fuel, right? Pull into your fuel, they don't have their fuel prices, and you think, oh, I'm just going to have to cop it, right?
Yeah.
Like, there is that not advertising.
Yeah.
But over something as trivial, it's not like it cost him $1,000 for the coffee. It's not like...
Yeah, that's right.
I'm not overly sure about the conversion rate to euro, like how much €2 is. If it's $2, $20, $200, but surely
it's about 66%. So it's almost double the price
Right.
here. So it might be like $4.
that hasn't thrown his day out.
Yeah,
That
right.
hasn't thrown his month of budget out. That's
Yeah. It's not going broke.
No, that's not $1,000 to
And
that business owner.
Give you money back. Just
What,
have it on the house. If you're going to call the police, don't worry about
Sorry,
it. Just
again,
call that.
€1,000. That's
Oh, okay, yeah.
€1,000 fine for the
Yeah.
thing like that. That's gonna hurt him so much more.
Yeah, and it's unnecessary as well, because I think customers just don't understand. It's that thing we come back to about how much risk you have in owning a cafe. Like, you can't just sit there and serve one customer a day. You have to be as busy as possible, otherwise the business just does not work. So for someone to come in and then decide that what your costs are and what your prices that you're selling are, without any experience, without any history, without any knowledge of what's going on, that you just decide that that's too expensive, that it's criminal, I just think that's wrong. And I really, if you're ever watching this and you have the same thought about how expensive a coffee is, I want you to think about all the other things you buy without a second thought. How much you spend on your fuel, how much you spend on the food at the moment. When you go out to dinner, a nice restaurant, you get small portions, you still pay a lot. It's not about what you think it's worth, it's about how much the business can afford to run at in order to stay open. So with all the pressures from every side now, it's harder and harder and harder to stay open. And you will see more and more cafes close down, and everyone will just go, well, they didn't know what they were doing.
Yeah.
And that's not fair.
Or maybe you want to be angry. Maybe, and you're venting that to the poor cafe owner. You can still be angry, just be angry in the right direction.
Yeah.
Point it to the people making those poor decisions and hurting it, that's forcing him to do that. Don't get angry at the owners.
No, that's right.
Point it, and that's how change will happen.
And because there's no governing body of cafes, there's no union that sort of supports it and says this is the acceptable rate. Every independent cafe owner goes out and tries to make the best of their life. They're not going out buying Ferraris and Lamborghinis and filling their houses. Most cafe owners are having a job. Basically, they could get more money if they went and got a job.
Yep.
The thing that I think the customers need to really just appreciate is the cost of everything now just to make a coffee is becoming so hard that it's almost not worth opening the doors at all. But the reason most cafes still continue to open is because they love their community, they love their staff, and they love everybody around in being in coffee, that they do it not for the money, they do it for the love. And so, yeah, it makes it really hard and saddening when you hear stories like this for people who are just jumping on, piling on, going, well, I can't scream at the petrol stations because they've all put the price up, so no one's going to listen to me anyway. I'll take it out on this poor cafe owner because he's put his price up 50 cents.
Hey, here's to cafe owners, hey?
Yeah, cheers to cafe owners.
To anyone out there who owns a cafe.
Feel for you.
Oh, yeah. Cheers to you.
Lastly, it was Campos's 20th anniversary on the 1st of July.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Campos. Campos, if those of you have never heard of it, it's a global organisation, biggest coffee place in Australia, but they're international now. I remember, because I have a special relationship with Campos, because Will Young actually came into my cafe in Sydney 20 years ago. And I was just around the corner from his tiny little Campos. I'd been in his place and we'd had a conversation. I was always extremely jealous because they had a Lamazocco and I just had a second-hand Rancilio that was 13 years old. But, you know, he came in and one of the best compliments I ever received was he said, that machine makes the best crema that I've ever seen, even better than his LM.
That's a big compliment for the 2000s.
Yep, exactly. And now, obviously, they're a multinational organisation, which is huge.
Everywhere.
Doing really good coffees as well. I think they set the standard for coffee in Australia. And, you know, they have some areas where they could improve some of the quality, but I think that, you know, such a huge company like that to continue to grow and deliver outstanding coffees and be a big influence in the coffee industry in Australia, I think there's testament to how well Will had grown that business. He just sold it. How well he has grown that business and maintained it to the level of it is today. So yeah, congratulations to Campos. Have a great birthday, and everyone in Newtown who went to the celebration event. I hope they had a great time too.
I used to love Campos.
Yeah.
When I was uneducated and, you know, just walking around, that would be the place that I would go to.
Yeah.
Because I knew that it had good coffee consistently, right?
They first set out the limitations to use their coffee. It was brilliant. So they went into a cafe at the time, to give you some landscape, to give you some context. At the time, in the early 2000s, coffee was still pretty average. There was maybe 2 or 3 companies that were doing really good specialty coffee. Most people were just doing really bad coffee. And most people wanted everything for free. So if I was a cafe owner, I wanted my machine, my grinders, umbrellas, cups, plates, what else? Yeah, mats, everything, right? I wanted it all for free. It should be, and I want my coffee cheap. And that's the standard contract. You would commit to, say, 20 kilos or 30 kilos a week, and you'd get all this stuff for free. Now, the machine they give you is not going to be a good machine, not going to be a brand new machine. They're going to give you a refurbished, old, cheapest, easy, most reliable machine like a Wega Atlas. That's the standard. They would give you one of those, or Nuova Simonelli, just base level ones. What Campos did is they came and they went, nope, we're not giving you a machine. In fact, you have to go out and buy your own machine just to have our coffee. But you can't just buy any old machine. Don't go buy that Wega. You have to buy the Lamazocco. It has to be that machine, or we will not sell you, we will not allow you to use our coffee. It was brilliant because you automatically ensured that the quality of the equipment was at the best.
100%.
And then you knew all you had to do was train them on how to use it, and they would deliver fantastic tasting coffee all the time.
Well, I love when coffee distributors do that sort of stuff, when they put rules and be like, well, yeah, cool, you can come and use our coffee, but you have to do this first. You think of Genovese, right? So if you want to have Genovese coffee, you can't be within 5 kilometers of another Genovese cafe, right? They go, no, we don't want to have 5 in the same little
area.
bit. So, you know, if you're close, you can't have it. And I think that's brilliant to be like, okay, they can quality assure how their coffee's being made.
Rather than just selling it and
selling it to
anyone.
everyone, and 80% of it's going to be absolutely rubbish, and then everyone goes, well, your coffee's rubbish. And we're like, no, the guys are making it, just don't know how to do it. So
unfortunately, the average consumer doesn't understand that you can have the best coffee and completely destroy it by making it poorly.
Yep.
And likewise, you can have terrible coffee, and you can make it taste better if you have a good barista. So that's it for our coffee news. It was a slow week. We had to pull information from a few weeks ago just to keep it interesting. But let's see what happens next week in coffee. And of course, if you liked this content, please give us a thumbs up, click that like button, click that subscribe button, put a comment in the section below and let us know what interests you about coffee, what you'd like to see more in these coffee chats, who you'd like to be on it.
100%.
We want to go live at some stage. We're not ready to go live yet, but we want to do live so we can get your comments coming in as we speak. And that will take it to a whole new level.
100%.
But as always, I'm Ryan Jevons, this is Liam, and enjoy your brew.
Thank you.